It was on this site where the Genovar Opera House once stood, where Frederick Douglass, the great abolitionist, spoke to the residents of St. Augustine on Sunday, April 7th, 1889. Born into slavery in 1818, Douglass rose in the pre-Civil War era to become a leading exponent of the abolitionist cause, and in the late 19th century, a tireless advocate for the African American community and civil liberties in general. A personal friend of Abraham Lincoln, Douglass played a vital role in persuading the president to issue the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. Douglass traveled to St. Augustine from Jacksonville in a special railroad car provided by the Jacksonville and St. Augustine Railroad Company. He was given a reception here attended by an estimated 700 citizens, according to the Florida Times-Union newspaper, including prominent people of both races. Douglass was introduced by the mayor of St. Augustine, William W. Dewhurst, who welcomed him on behalf of the governor of Florida. An inspiring orator, Douglass spoke about the continuing struggle of African Americans to achieve the civil rights in the post-emancipation era. At the close of Douglass's remarks, the audience rose to sing a national anthem, after which the crowd dispersed and Mr. Douglass left on the afternoon train to Jacksonville. So the Genovar Opera House burned in the Great Fire of April 2nd, 1914. See, Frederick Douglass was down with Abraham Lincoln and vice versa. See, I told you, Abraham Lincoln was the first black president. Nah, I'm kidding. But shout out to Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. P9 coming at you live from St. Augustine, Florida. St. Augustine, Florida is the county seat of St. Johns County, located on the Atlantic coast of northeastern Florida. St. Augustine is the oldest established city in the continental U.S. And right here is, I'm at the side of the Lightner Museum. So, being that St. Augustine is the oldest established city in the continental U.S., it is older than Pensacola in terms of being an established city, even though Pensacola overall is the older settlement between the two. As you can see right here, it's against the Lightner Museum. But yeah, being that St. Augustine is the oldest city, you're going to see a lot of distinctive architecture, whether it be museums, whether it be the courthouses, restaurants, you name it. As you can see right here, it's a restaurant called the Old City House. It's a inn and restaurant, and it also serves as a bar. So you talk about a premier tourist destination, St. Augustine is definitely up there in regards to premier tourist destinations in the States. We're in the section of St. Augustine called Old Town. So far, okay, as you look at this building right here, this is called the Casa Monica. Looks like it could potentially be a hotel, judging by the balconies right here. And look at the unique design of these buildings and the balcony. As you see right there, that's an Old Town trolley. You know you're in a major tourist spot if you see one of those. Lightner Museum. But this is the front of the Lightner Museum. And right here, they have a directory. And here we are right here. Oh wow, they actually have an alligator farm here somewhere. And they have a lot of stuff, a lot of historic places. But let me keep on walking. And I've only walked a couple of blocks and I've already seen seen some very impressive buildings, and I see, and it's quite a bit of people out here now. This is the first time in a while that I've been somewhere with this large amount of tourists. Check this out though. Got this fountain right here. This is the Parque de Menendez Park. And there goes the Old Town trolley making its way in front of this building right here, as you can see.
Left side, everybody. We have stop number 10.
So this is the Lightner Museum, but it started off as the Alcazar Hotel. And as you can see, St. Augustine established 1565. This was actually the second of the great hotels in St. Augustine, constructed by railroad tycoon Henry Flagler in his effort to create a southern resort city. The Alcazar Hotel, it opened its doors on Christmas Day, December 25th, 1888. And it was crafted by architects John Carrere and Thomas Hastings. So as far as architectural styles, it's of the Moorish and Mediterranean, which is very common in Spain. That form of architecture, which is who's basically settled in St. Augustine, the Spanish. So it operated from 1888 to 1931. And then an entrepreneur by the name of Otto Lightner in 1946 purchased the building to house his amazing collection of fine arts, music instruments, ceramics, and curiosities of all kinds. The building and its collections Lightner donated to the city of St. Augustine before his death in 1950. And his former hotel has since been the home of city offices as well as a museum since 1972. So there you have it. This is a statue of Don Pedro Menendez de Aviles. Right here. One of the governors of Spain and also a conquistador. And there's some local businesses right here. You have a barber shop right over here. You have a coffee bar and gallery right here. You have a chocolate, handcrafted chocolate spot right here. And you have, they can actually go on a ghost tour, which makes sense because this is an extremely old city. So ghost tours do seem like something that you would encounter here. But the street I'm on right now is Granada. I'm getting ready to go down to King Street. And right here is Flagler College. So believe it or not, people, this is a college right here. One of the most distinctive architected universities or colleges that you've probably ever seen right here. And this structure was actually erected between 1885 and 1887 by Henry Flagler, the railroad tycoon who we mentioned earlier. And this was the Ponce de Leon Hotel. And the same individuals, the architectural firm who basically architected and designed the Lightner Museum, also architected this building, which was originally a hotel. So Henry Flagler owned a series of hotels along the east coast of Florida. And here's a statue of him right here. Born 1830, died 1913. Lived to be 83 years old. But as far as Flagler College itself, it's a private liberal arts college, and they also have a campus in Tallahassee, the state capital. But the college itself was established in 1968, and of course it occupies now what was originally a hotel. As I continue down King Street, crazy hot out here, but you know what? Where P9 is gonna be all right. So much like Pensacola, St. Augustine was controlled by multiple empires throughout the course of its existence. It was first controlled by the Spanish Empire, then it was controlled by the Great Britain Kingdom, then the Spanish Empire again. Then the United States gained control, and then the Confederate States gained control of St. Augustine during the first part of the Civil War, and the U.S. regained control over St. Augustine during the course of the Civil War. So it has switched hands multiple times.
And told them that they wanted to do a documentary on their company.
Here comes a boutique shop right here that sells a number of clothing, hats, and souvenirs as well. It's called the Artsy Abode. I like that pillow right there, St. Augustine, and it has a bunch of its historical sites stitched into it.
This is sick.
Yeah. This is the Trinity Parish, which was built in 1821. Sounds like I hear some church bells now. Go ahead and cross right here. And of course, here you have your Civil War artifacts. Andrew Young Crossing. Oh, wow. Andrew Young came to St. Augustine. He came here for a peaceful protest for civil rights in 1964. Andrew Young led a march from Lincolnville to the Plaza de la Constitucion, where they met violent opposition. Young had been sent to St. Augustine by Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., a close friend of fellow advocate to organize a peaceful protest for human rights. What led to the demonstrators across the street to this location, he was beaten by a large white mob that had been waiting for the marchers to arrive. Young recalls being struck down several times in the melee. The activists, being true to Dr. King's nonviolent strategy, walked away. Wow. Civil rights historians agree that this was one of the pivotal events that eventually led to the passage of the civil rights legislation. National press coverage of the protests in 1964 helped break Congress' filibuster on the Civil Rights Act vote. On July 2nd, 1964, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Bill into law. So there goes Andrew Young right there in his older age, sitting on this very site right here. Yes. I mean, these people really put it on the line. Like I said, I tip my hat off to the civil rights activists during that tumultuous period of time. Look at this monument right here. It's called the Constitution Monument. So I believe this is called the Plaza. I believe this park is called the Plaza de la Constitución, which translates to the Constitution Plaza in English. Now this building right here is called the Cathedral Basilica of St. Augustine. So the Catholic Bishop of St. Augustine is the head of this church right here. Some more gift shops and souvenir shops and a couple of little diners and restaurants. It's a donut shop over there as well. Over there. It's a lot more to see, people, believe me. They have a lounge right here. Over here on Charlotte Street, in St. Augustine. And there's an array of little small shops and restaurants. This is a coffee shop right here. And this is a gourmet garden Indian restaurant right here. A lot of mom and pops down this way. This is a fine imported cigar, so a cigar shop. Those cigar shops are very common in these Spanish founded cities. Michael's Steak, Seafood, and Wine. There's an Irish gift shop right here. As much as I possibly can. They have an Auntie Annie's Cinnabon right here. It's a pub. A lot of places to eat. Gourmet ice pops. Pirate Bay jerky. Shopaholic Boutique. Spanish flag right there. Sanchez Burt House, built between 1816 and 1829. So it was a wooden structure according to that marker, this was originally occupied by a wooden structure, but in 1829 it was replaced by the structure that you see right here. And again, it's called the Sanchez Burt House. You know, you got the green shutters right here. Building's over 200 years old. So we're now on the pedestrian walkway where a lot of these restaurants and shops are. They got a pizzeria right here. Some Ben and Jerry's ice cream right here. There's an artsy abode. So they got another artsy abode shop right on this walkway. Remember, we saw that earlier. They have a Souvenir City gift shop right over here. So they have a Ben and Jerry's and they have a Kilwin's ice cream shop right here. Aunt Matilda's steampunk trunk. So it's a clothing and accessory store. The Shell shop. This building right here, this structure, which is occupied by a women's exchange gift shop and a historic museum tour, this was built around 1750. As you can tell, it's extremely old. We're talking over 250 years ago, but it's called the Dr. Peck House. The stone walls of this building date from before 1750 and were part of a house owned by the royal treasurer late in the first Spanish period. Okay. During this time, or during the British period, it served for a time as the home of Governor John Moultrie. In 1837, Dr. Seth Peck purchased the house and rebuilt it using the old walls and adding the framed second story. It remained in the Peck family until willed to the city in 1931. So yeah, so he rebuilt the old walls. No, he rebuilt the home using old walls and he added a frame to the second story. Wow, that's genius right there. This is called the Shops at Heritage Walk. Had to come in here because it's to cool off, you know. Myself and my camera can both cool off at the same time. But a lot of little small shops. They have a jewelry shop right here. They have hot sauce shop. Another ice cream shop. This one's called Cool Breeze. Cigar shop right here. Sea of Life, Natural Ink. There's a lot of different shops you can come over here and support. That's what I like about these tourist cities, because they have a lot of, I mean, a seemingly limitless amount of mom and pop stores that you could support. I think the only like corporate spot that I saw since being in St. Augustine was a Starbucks. Everything else has been mom and pop. They have this place called Mythical Mountain. They sell like figurines from your favorite cartoons and superheroes and things of that nature. And they have this here, right? Barefoot Bill's Burgers, Beer, and More. So they have a bar. They have a t-shirt shop right here called the Soft Shirt Place. McCrory's Five and Dime store.
I love your shirt. Oh, that's like my life.
I feel that. Thanks. Thanks. Okay. So this was the site of a local civil rights movement beginning after the vain attempt to acquire lunch counter service by Henry Hank Thomas. So Hank Thomas is another civil rights pioneer and one of the freedom riders. Okay. But next time, or if in any time, any of my subscribers or viewers want to come visit St. Augustine, definitely make sure you swing by this place over here, this collection of shops, because there's a little bit of everything for all type of tastes. Your boy P9 had to go cool off with an ice cream cone, a waffle cone, from this spot called Cool Breeze inside the Heritage Walk. So go check them out if you need something, a cool treat, especially in this hot sun. Get you an ice cream cone. It's a waffle cone. All right. This here is the Salcedo house. And it was here on this site where this man right here, this brother right here, 42 St. George Street, stood the home of the nation's first black general, George Bissau, who came to St. Augustine from his native St. Domingue, which is today known as Haiti, in 1796 as an officer of the Spanish militia. General Bassal was one of the original leaders of the 1791 slave uprising in Haiti. For his service to the Spanish against the French, he became a Spanish general and came to St. Augustine with an entourage and staff of 26 fellow revolutionaries as Florida's second highest paid official. Although living at his home here in the center of the city, Bassal owned a large tract of land north of the town. So, yeah, this is General Bassal. Played a huge part in the present day nation of Haiti gaining independence from France. This is the 1886 old drugstore, which is now occupied by the Potter's Wax Museum, which is dubbed America's first wax museum. This is the St. Augustine Civic Center, which now functions as the Visitor Information Center for St. Augustine. And it's a restored masterpiece that was originally constructed in 1935. The designer of this building was Frederick Henderich, who arrived in St. Augustine at the beginning of the 20th century as an architect for the Florida East Coast Railway. And here is Mr. Hendrick right there. The set of masks that you see before you were gifted to the city of St. Augustine by its sister city in Spain, the city of Aviles, which is also the birthplace of St. Augustine's founder, Pedro Menendez, excuse me. So these are the masks which are distributing out water, and this is non-potable water, so it's not drinkable water. So I advise you guys, if you're ever in the area and you're thirsty, do not come over here to get no water. It's not used for drinking or for cooking. Just thought I'd throw that warning out there. I'm in Uptown St. Augustine, and they have Ripley's Believe It or Not museum over here. That's supposed to be the devil. Oh wow. But yes, that building over there is the Ripley's Believe It or Not museum. And it originally housed the Warden Winter Home, which was built in 1887 for William Warden of Philadelphia. So he was a partner with Henry Flagler and John Rockefeller of the Standard Oil Company. He was also the president of the St. Augustine Gas and Electric Light Company and financial director of the St. Augustine Improvement Company. Okay.
want a sandwich?
And I am descending upon the oldest fort in the continental United States. As you're going to see pretty soon, as you can see right here actually. This is the oldest military fort in the US, right here in St. Augustine. It is called the Castillo de San Marcos. So it's Spanish for St. Mark's Castle. As you can see right over here. I think you get up on the other side. You have to go on the other side to get up, actually up on it. This is the fort right here. It encompasses 20 acres of land. All those cannons over there. And this is the Matanzas Bay. Here's an artillery of cannons right here, which was used obviously to defend the fort during wartime from other forces. So they had different fronts as regards to the defense. Multi-use mode. Okay. So this fort was actually designed by an engineer from Spain by the name of Ignacio Daza. And the construction began in 1672. So we're talking over 100 years after the establishment of St. Augustine. Florida, at that time, Florida was part of the Spanish Empire. And it wasn't until almost 100 years after this fort was established or built that Florida became under control by Great Britain. So a multitude of wars were fought right over here. The Castillo de San Marcos. You can see a lot of these ships right here on the bay. Had to get a picture of this sign right here. The National Park Service, U.S. Department of the Interior, who operate and maintain this national park. So I'm on the Avenida Menendez. Which I would assume translates in English to Menendez Avenue. I believe it was named after the founder of St. Augustine. They have an Irish pub and oyster bar over here. It feels good over there. I love to cool off right over there. That'd be nice. At this waterfront cafe. It's so good seeing all the people come out and enjoy, especially considering that recently, well, or at least a few years ago, with the with the breakout of the C-19 and everybody, mostly everybody not being able to go anywhere, had to been very trying time for a lot of people. It's a terrible time in history. So I know it's good to be able to socialize and get out and enjoy the outdoors.
Claro, más pequeña, más te la cambio ahí.
A remnant of Rodriguez Arcion home. So two-story house right here.
Ahora vamos a ir a buscar el tren rojo. Vamos.
Going underneath another one of these construction tunnels.
Yeah, so the job
Check that out over there. Now, I definitely don't plan on this being my last visit to St. Augustine. We're about to take a walk down Aviles Street, the oldest street in the United States. Aviles Street in the Spanish times was the street of the Royal Hospital, and it was named in 1923 in honor of the birthplace of Pedro Menendez de Aviles, founder of St. Augustine, Florida. So this is Aviles Street right here. So this, at one point in time, this building right here was a Spanish military hospital. There's an art contemporary gallery right here. It's called Plum. So there's a slew of art galleries down this way. But before I proceed, this is the Sagi Kirby Smith House, one of the only 36 Spanish colonial houses remaining in St. Augustine. The house dates from the late 1700s. The site on which it is situated has been continuously occupied since the late 1500s. So it was home to a merchant of Minorcan descent by the name of Bernardo Segui, who was also a baker to the garrison and the Spanish militia officials. But this is the home right here in which Mr. Segui So the tour guide is ahead of me on one of the red trains where he's giving a tour to the tourists. So there's quite a few art galleries. They have a pottery shop right here as well. It's a ton of historical sites in St. Augustine. It's a two-story house right here called the Jimenez Fascio House. And this is also called the Casa de Solana Inn. So it's a lodging facility. But there it is, Aviles Street. are the St. Augustine foot soldiers. And here are the soldiers right here. There's 4 of them. The white man right here, the black man, and 2 black women. And they were 4 of the foot soldiers who dedicated their lives to participating in the civil rights movement in the 1960s in St. Augustine. They protested racial discrimination by marching, picketing, kneeling in churches, sitting in at lunch counters, waiting in at beaches, attending rallies, raising money, preparing meals, and providing a safe haven. So doing the things that typically civil rights activists did during that time. All of it had to do with protests. And they persisted in the face of jailings, beatings, shootings, loss of employment, threats, and other dangers. They were foot soldiers for freedom and justice whose efforts and example helped pass the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964. Their courage and heroism changed America and inspired the world. And here they go again. I'm on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in the historic Lincolnville neighborhood of St. Augustine. And this is where a large concentration of black Americans lived, especially during the Reconstruction and Civil Rights era. As you can see right here, this is St. Paul AME Church. And here's the front of that historical building. And back then, this was this stretch of road was known as Central Avenue, but it is now Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. And here's a marker for St. Paul AME Church. To each of us, God has given a talent, some to lead, some to follow, some to build. In January 1904, plans were made to build the present church. Reverend E.F. Williams is remembered as the architect and builder. He uttered those words at the groundbreaking, "Upon this spot, God's church is built, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." Thus, the legacy continues. So, this building, this AME church, was a foundational piece, especially during the turmoil that was going on during the civil rights movement of the 1960s in St. Augustine specifically. So this is a very prominent building right here. So prominent speakers such as Dr. King and his colleagues Ralph David Abernathy and Hosea Williams and Reverend Andrew Young, all of them, you know, were prominent speakers here at this church. And all of them visited here in 1964. And it pretty much fueled the whole passage of the Civil Rights Act. Very historic building. So also, there was the Catholic Church. You know, they were black Catholics that lived in St. Augustine, and this particular block was owned by the Catholic Church in 3 historic buildings, which I believe are these 3 buildings right here. 1, 2, and I don't know. Well, it can't be that building. I think it was just these 2 buildings, but. So this first building was constructed in 1898, was a school originally called St. Cecilia. So there were a lot of what were called Yalahas or Yalahas, and those were orange groves. Being that this is Florida, you know, those citrus oranges are native as far as the growth of them. So they had a grove plantation, and there were blacks that were, you know, basically enslaved on those plantations. So this brick house right here is the oldest surviving building during that time. We're talking in the late 1800s. You know what I'm saying? So this is a cathedral parish of St. Augustine. So there were white Catholics and black Catholics living in St. Augustine. As we make our way towards St. Francis. A lot of nice homes on this street. So you know it's an historic area when the Old Town trolley makes its way down here. This is not just your regular residential street. It's an historic district. Now, this is the Lincolnville Historic District. Once the site of Indian villages, colonial plantations, and orange groves, Lincolnville began as a settlement of emancipated slaves in 1866. African Americans who trace their origins to the city's 16th century founding played an integral role in the history of St. Augustine for centuries before the forced segregation of the late 1800s led them to create their own community institutions. Here they built churches, schools, and a vibrant business center surrounded by residences that displayed their ornate architecture of the age. By 1930, Lincolnville became a major part of the city, encompassing both the African American community itself and the adjacent white residential areas that had grown up with it. In 1964, civil rights demonstrations organized in Lincolnville attracted nationwide attention and influenced the congressional debate that led to the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Today, the 50-block Lincolnville neighborhood still contains the ancient city's largest concentration of late Victorian era buildings, most of them private homes. The Lincolnville Historic District was listed in the National Register of Historic Places in 1991. Yep, so there you have it. This is the Lincolnville. So yeah, a lot of the homes in this area are Victorian era homes. That's their architectural style. So again, during the segregation era, of course, blacks had to establish their own areas of prosperity. It's a nice home right there. So yes, there you have it, Lincolnville district. I'm over here by the marina of St. Augustine. This here is the Harbor Master Park. And this is the marina. So this is the Atlantic Intracoastal Waterway. So it's a continuous navigation channel that begins in Virginia and ends in Key West. The AICW provides a route for commercial and recreational vessels that are not able to safely travel on the open ocean. Okay. So yes, these are the commercial and recreational vessels that traverse the waters of the Intracoastal Waterway. And there's plenty of them right here on this marina. Starting to feel a little bit of a cool, relaxing breeze. And with that being said, that is where I will end this St. Augustine vlog. I've had a great time touring and walking around the oldest established city in the continental US, and it was my first time, and it was a really cool adventure, to say the least. So with that being said, I thank everybody who has tuned in, and I ask that you guys continue to support your boy by subscribing to the channel. Like I said before, it's nothing but a click of a mouse or a tap of a screen. You know, and also hit that notification bell. That way, when I continuously put out this content, you will be notified as soon as the video uploads. That being said, it's your boy P9 signing out. You guys take care, have a great day, and enjoy your summer. You'll see more of me as the summer progresses. All right, later.